I think we're back now. That's good. Anyway. Don't know what happened there. But I'll even just treat this like a video. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Just wanted to let you guys know that I'm still alive. I'm still here. And no song suggestion Friday today properly because I have way the hell too much work to do. Way too much. Is this working or not? Okay, it is. There we go. It took forever. My client right now has a bunch of work that he wants to get caught up on, as far as videos that he wants me to edit and help script for him, and that also includes packaging. So you gotta like make thumbnails, you gotta make titles, that whole business. Think about an angle on which to sell videos. So I have a whole lot of that coming up, while I also have to go visit my friend. And I have an advertiser for this Dream Theater video that I'm doing. So, yeah, I just had to get that ad off for approval today. And hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to finish the script for this Dream Theater thing tonight so that I can record it tomorrow. That's the hope. Man, gonna be so much work to do. But it's good. It's good having work to do. I like what I do, so it's quite nice. Yes, we are back. I don't know what was going on there, but someone asked how to become a member, so let's show that to them. If someone wants to become a member, you can come on to any of my videos. You come down here to this join button. You click on that, and you can become a member at $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $30 a month. And then you get access to the most amazing emotes. Look at this. Look at these amazing emotes that you get. The bestest emotes. No one even comes close, especially the Rick Beato emotes. Hey Matt, how you doing? A keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. I don't know what the hell that means. I have no clue what that means. Stream status poor. Which can cause buffering. I don't know how to fix that, but I'll have that fixed before the next stream. Either way. We even have David Fields, that is correct. But yeah, I figure since I won't be able to do a proper live stream today, I at least wanted to let you guys know that I am alive. I'm happy, I'm doing well, I am doing work. Doing a lot of work. And wanted to do an AMA and ask me anything if that's something that you guys wanted to do. Since I haven't uploaded a video in a long time, and since I haven't even been streaming regularly over the last few weeks because of being sick and running around and everything. Beatles 64 documentary? What's that? Did Nintendo ruin the Beatles with a Nintendo 64 title? 64? What is that? I didn't even know this was a thing. Let's take a look here. Alright, sorry Matt Frad.
Are you filming now?
Oh, they're in perfect synchronization.
Are they? Bet you can hear your own voice. Only it's late zone. Hello. How you doing, Ringo? I'm all right.
That's hilarious.
We were just like, we're in America. America.
Oh, that's real, 0613.
Okay.
That's very real.
I don't know, Washington. I'm just moving so fast.
They wanted to know everything about America.
Jose, I'll come back to your question in a moment.
And they loved it.
It was like being in a hurricane. It was happening to us, and it was hard to see.
They were the first white group that I had ever heard in my life. Say, yeah, we grew up listening to black music.
We think they're just great, especially their hair too.
I think there's something very strange about it, at the same time something very
My sister had the radio on, and I heard the Beatles. It's like total darkness. Then the light comes on. I was like, oh my God, it's good for us.
We could get the camera down on this mic, it'd be a real laugh. How about go on? Defy convention.
I think the craziness was going on in the world and in the band. You know, we were kind of normal and the rest of the world was crazy. Everybody got into the mania whenever the Beatles came to town.
When we came, it was quite shortly after Kennedy had been assassinated. Maybe America needed something like the Beatles to be lifted out of sorrow.
The elixir that they put together is so profound. It wasn't just about the songs. It was the power of music to transform lives.
The girls crying and faint, falling out. What they crying for?
What do you like about the Beatles?
Because they're insane.
What they crying for?
What do you like about the Beatles?
That's a meme in and of itself.
We just like the Beatles because they're English. Do you think they're very English?
I think we're jolly English, actually.
It's interesting, possibly. I canceled my Disney Plus subscription a while ago, so I don't know if I'll really be watching that at all. I don't think it's quite like groundbreaking enough for me to actually go out of my way to get a Disney Plus subscription, so I probably won't wind up watching it. Unless someone's like, dude, you absolutely must watch this, you know, something absolutely crazy happens. But yeah. To answer that question, where were we? Jose asked, why haven't I posted anything, if I don't mind answering? A few different reasons. So, one, I don't really think it's good to be on the content hamster wheel unless you have a good reason to be. And I feel like most people that are on the content hamster wheel don't actually have a good reason to be. I really wasn't feeling like mostly I was adding enough that was worth pulling people's attention and time. Even if you guys liked giving your attention and time, it felt like it wasn't as much as I could give you. And I'm trying to think of the most accurate way of putting this. It definitely wasn't the best that I could be. And towards what end? You know, if I'm spending all of this time trying to chase a video every week and try and find something to talk about that I just need to have an opinion on in order to serve an algorithm, you know, who is that actually serving? So I instead wanted to take some time to step back and be like, okay, I'm going to actually sit down and talk about something I think is extremely important. And the thing that right now I think is extremely important is trying to identify a certain level of objectivity in music. Because I think it's very clear from how positive the response was to my Opeth album review that the music community is starving for something way more substantial and way more meaningful. Like, here, I'm not poking on anyone in particular. I'm just gonna dial up Last Will and Testament review. Okay, we'll look at this guy. Even though one of his friends is actually interviewing me. Again, I'm not gonna be talking shit on anyone. Here was
Barno here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. Today, for this episode, the review you've all been waiting for, the metal and the prog world, has been abuzz in recent months with the announcement of the brand new album from Opeth. 14th studio album, The Last Will and Testament. That's right. The growls are back. The growls are back. All the metal fans are excited about that. Some of the prog fans are like, I don't know. I don't know if I don't really like growls. I've really liked Opeth's last bunch of albums that don't have the growls. I can't get into the Cookie Monster thing. Well, you've got a meeting of both worlds here on this album, which I'm going to get to. So like I said, this is the 14th studio album from the Swedes. Let's take a look at it before we start talking about the music here. Of course, they're on this label called, geez, I can never pronounce it.
So he's kind of does like the unboxing thing for a little bit, but let's get to the actual meat of the review.
The first 7 are all like S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, and then track number 8 is A Story Never Told, which is probably the one track on the album that kind of sounds like it sits apart from the rest, because all the rest just kind of like bleed into each other. It reminds me, let me get to that. Let's talk about the line first. I don't want to kind of get ahead of myself here. So Michael Ackerfeld, of course, on lead and backing vocals, guitars, mellotron, percussion, all sorts of other things. Martin Mendez, the great Martin Mendez, on bass and backing vocals. Frederick Ackerson, of course, on guitars. Barry Varnian, I guess is how he says his name. Something like that.
I have no idea how to pronounce his name either.
They make some nice contributions here. Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull plays flute on a handful of tracks, as well as kind of like spoken word vocals on a few tracks. You got Joey Tempest, lead singer from Europe, doing some backing vocals on a track here. You got Mia Westland, does a little bit of harp.
So we're 3 minutes into a 13-minute review, and he's listing off a bunch of names, and he's giving you a bunch of like hard data about things surrounding the music, but he's barely talked at all about the music yet. And maybe that's important, maybe that's valuable. I'm not trying to like downplay that at all, but we're like, I don't know, about a fifth of the way through the review, and we still haven't heard anything about like the most important fact of an album review. Is this actually a good album to listen to?
Miriam Ackerfeld does some spoken word vocals on one track. You got the London Session Orchestra, does some strings, and Dave Stewart, the string arrangements. And I believe this album was, let's see, production-wise, engineered by Stefan Bowman, Joe Jones, and the band. And they also did the mixing. Miles Showell did the mastering. Terhi Yilmanen on photography. Travis Smith cover artwork.
Who the hell cares about the photography? Like, truly. I get he's trying to list off the credit, but if people really want to know, they can read the credits themselves.
All right, so like I mentioned, you've got basically this kind of 7-part movement, and then A Story Never Told finishes it up. Yes, the growls are back, folks, and they sound spectacular. But this is not like a full-on death metal album. So for those of you who are, into Opeth's prog stuff, but don't really care for the more extreme nature of the early material, I would say just relax a little bit and give this a try, because yes, the growls are back, but they're so well done, and they're woven into these songs. Like, it's basically, because this is a concept album, Michael is basically doing multiple parts or playing multiple characters with his vocals. So when the need fits for a certain character in the storyline, there's the more aggressive growls. But there's tons of his clean vocals all throughout this album. So if you've liked the last 4 or 5 albums and have liked, really love all his melodic vocals, there's tons of them here, right? But they're all woven together with the growls. Kind of, it's very much kind of like the Ghost Reveries and Watershed period here. And I would say...
Okay. So we've gotten about a minute's worth of actually talking about the music. And I think it's useful in the sense of like a product review. If we're doing like a product review, like I would get like a torque wrench that's like a special kind of torque wrench. Like they've tried to revolutionize the design of this torque wrench, and here's how it works on my car, and like here's it on like lug nuts, and here's it on my what do you call it? The top of the engine bit, the engine cover. Here it is on my engine harness, my engine mount. So, these are the things that someone in this circumstance would like about this torque wrench, but then someone else in a different circumstance might not get the most use out of the torque wrench, and it might be too much money, something like that. And that's totally useful, but it's talking right past the actual important parts of music, which is the aesthetics, which is meaning, which is beauty. Maybe he talks about it here, but the biggest reason why so much of that gets talked past is because our culture is in a point right now where the most we have of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So basically, all of what he is talking about so far serves the most surface level amount of evaluating the goodness of a piece of art, which is taste. And it's important to have someone who can guide someone to find something that suits their taste. I think that's a good thing to do. Again, I'm not talking crap on him. This is like a universal problem across the entirety of music commentary, I would say. The closest you get maybe is like guys like Adam Neely, maybe. He goes into some really interesting in-depth stuff, but he never really like firmly plants his flag anywhere. except to kind of say, think about this interesting idea. It's like, okay, sure, you know, and I can understand trying to play neutral in order to appeal to a broader audience, you know, but I still think that, in my opinion, is still a little soft. So finally become famous and they start getting hate. Yeah. So my point being, there's a much more enriching way of engaging with art. There's a much more in-depth, meaningful, substantial way of engaging with art and sharing our thoughts about art. And that's why I could make a 45-minute video on something that took him 13 minutes, 3.5 of which is him just reading off the facts about the album, not actually talking about the music. I did like none of that. I did basically 45 minutes of maybe some context of like mostly music speaking, but then some context of like the history and how and why it's meaningful. You know what I mean? The how and why it's meaningful is that emotional experience and then contextualized into the rest of the culture. So, yeah. Redline says, oh wow, Sea of Tranquility. I subbed to them for a while, but I started to feel too lost and alienated with all the obscure bands and the New York State references. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have no issues at all with the Sea of Tranquility. I'm not even saying this is a bad review. Just that, like, I don't know. I don't particularly find it enriching to talk about music in that way. And I think a lot of other people are starving for a more substantial music conversation other than this very, again, this is not meant to be insulting at all. Very surface level way of analyzing music. Again, treating it more like a product review than it is an analysis of the art piece, if that makes any sense.
Even though there are plenty of growls here, they don't take over the arrangements here, take over these tracks, but they're used in such a great way along with the melodic vocals. It's very, very expertly woven together here, I will say. And is it possible for like growling vocals to be kind of...
Yes, I do, and I wish I didn't Machine Gun Philly.
They really are. Granted, I'm a death metal fan, so I don't mind this stuff, but I like when those type of vocals are used with clean melodic vocals and integrated so well that they just mesh and kind of feed off of each other. It really works out really well in the sound. As far as like a music...
Yeah, and he like quickly sums up like, oh, they really like mesh and feed off of one another. Like, how does that differ from a bajillion other albums that have had that same kind of dynamic? Because the death metal and clean vocal back and forth is not new. As a matter of fact, I would say it's pretty played out at this point and expected, especially in metal scenes. So how does this do it different? You know, what makes this one special? Is it special? Do you think it's not particularly special? Do you think it's kind of humdrum? But that's also, again, I think he's bringing it up specifically because he knows he has a prog-heavy audience who doesn't like growls, and he's trying to say, I know you don't like this thing, but try and give it a chance because it actually balances it out really well with all this other stuff. So again, that's less of an analysis and more of like a product review. I don't know. That's, again, not as interesting or meaningful to me, but still useful.
Accompaniment to the sound, the arrangements and whatnot. The majority of this album, again, it's really hard. You can't really pick out songs here because it's almost like all one big movement. And our very own writer, Chris Reed, from our webzine, posted a review this morning. And basically he said, and he's very, very, it's very true what he says, is that this album reminds so much of like Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick, or specifically a Passion Play. And I love the Passion Play comparison because Passion Play's got some really great musical arrangements, but it's just not, it's not accessible. Like, it's not like instant, like, okay, you pull out parts and songs, like, okay, you know, I'm gravitated towards it. You have to listen to the whole thing.
I think that's a worthwhile comparison. Again, not the world's deepest analysis, but I think that's totally a worthwhile comparison for sure.
Through and through. And
I think it's a good one too.
It's all woven together expertly, but very, very complex and very, very unusual.
He is on 1.7 speed, Machine Gun Philly.
I've had it for a few days, and I've had to listen to it like 5 or 6 times before I really could come to grips with what I'm going to.
That's also very valuable to let an audience know. You got to listen to that album multiple times.
Talk about it. And that's just how complex it is and how challenging it is, but it's still very pleasant on the ears because a lot of the bits and things stick into your head, but you kind of have to put the whole picture together and put all the pieces together before you can actually describe what it is that you're hearing and why you're enjoying it, if that makes any sense. So
it won't, Domnus.
metal passages that are really complicated. This is progressive metal. This is progressive metal, folks. But there's lots of regular classic 70s prog rock on here, right? These little, beds of mellotron and the light touches of the...
Yeah, so we're about halfway through. And again, it's fair. I would say fairly surface level. And I think if you're going to talk about an album within a constraint of 13 minutes, which maybe that's what he is designing this to do, you basically need to get the audience what they need to know to decide whether or not to listen to the album. So in that sense, again, it's more like a product review as opposed to a gathering place to actually like discuss in depth the album. You know what I mean? That has its purpose, and that's a good thing. But I don't know. It doesn't particularly interest me as a creator. Let's put it that way. Not to mention, I know I'm better than that. Not that I'm better than him, but that I can provide a more meaningful, in-depth analysis. I know that's the case. I've done it before. I will do it again. So things like that take time. And also I have to wait for something worth me actually opining on. Not to mention, I have, it's both a blessing and a curse to have an established audience. A blessing because when I release things, people will actually like watch it. But a curse because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if I don't talk about specific bands or genres, they just won't let people know that I uploaded a video. Yeah, they just won't do it at all. The YouTube algorithm is fairly fickle, not the worst, but fairly fickle. So because of that, I'm kind of limited on my options. And if I'm going to just like start posting things that aren't hitting into my established demographics on this channel, I want to make sure that they're really worthwhile. So thank you for another gifted suggestion. Oh, and it went to Kyle too. He was asking about becoming a member. There you go, Kyle. Got your membership. So that's why it's been a while, because when I upload something, I want it to actually be really worthwhile, not just for you guys, but for me to actually talk about and feel like I'm advancing the music discussion forward another step each time I upload something. Ideally, I'd like that. Yeah, not that a reaction video would never ever happen again, but I don't know. I think it's mostly not great, for lack of a better term. I didn't mind doing the Opeth reaction video because I could like really dig into that track really deeply. I actually really enjoyed doing that too. My favorite artist I've been introduced to through Song Suggestion Friday. Wow, that's a really hard one. That's a really difficult one. There's been a lot of good ones. It might be Leprous. Leprous is way up there. Pain of Salvation, even though I don't love all of their albums, man, that Road Salt 1 album is so freaking good. Thank you, Gothic. I appreciate it. Any new Gregorian chant we've been working on in church? I don't know offhand because it's been a while since I've been able to make it to Schola rehearsal. I haven't been to Schola rehearsal in months between Christmas vacation and then having to take all of these different trips. Do I have a favorite video of my own? The least favorite, most cringe. I've yet to encounter any cringe Gregorian chant myself. Fragile Wolf. Favorite video of my own. That's a tough one. Let me see. Offhand, my first thought is the CCM documentary. Even though I cringe at the parts where I'm on screen, because I feel like I'm being such a really not justified dickhead about some of the stuff. I can see why some people had a negative reaction to it. Yeah, the Christian music documentary was good. It's the reason you subbed. Wow, thanks, man. Yeah, okay, so going back to why I haven't posted as much lately, I want to make things of that caliber. I was actually blessed to have that story fall into my lap accidentally. That's why I was able to chase it, and that's why when I finally got my hands on it, I wanted to treat it with the respect that it deserved instead of just making like a quick throwaway video. I think it was absolutely worth it. But yeah, you know, that's definitely up there. I really like my Perlovsky videos, even though I actually got a handful of things wrong. I'm trying not to just engagement bait. This fucking dragging hi-hats driving me up a wall. Okay. Anyway, sorry. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you do have to play some level of engagement bait to exist in this ecosphere, you know, in this space. That's just how the rules are. It's so incredibly competitive for everyone's attention. But there is a level at which you start like lying as opposed to actually like providing value, if that makes any sense. And I want to do ideally no misleading at all when it comes to my thumb or my title. Unless I'm trolling. I'll make an exception for trolling. That is different. Like when I did my 72 seasons review video. My reaction to 72 seasons. I still like that video. Oh, excuse me. The kids react to disco. I didn't even remember that I did that one. Holy crap. Yeah, that's my favorite one, Jacob. Yes, that was the one where I felt like I was truly inspired. I'm speaking from the heart. Definitely not just trying to juice the algorithm at all. I don't think I'm particularly interested, Chance, but maybe in a later stream we can take a look at that. Is the guitar the first instrument you learned to play? I guess, like, technically, yeah. I should say, like, basically, yeah. Like, I had a keyboard when I was younger, but I wouldn't say I really learned to play it. Like, I knew how to play it as much as a kid can tinker with stuff on a keyboard. I did, like, a little bit of, like, teaching myself piano with, like, this little book that had, like, Christmas songs in it. But, yeah, I would... Oh, okay. Even before guitar, there was trumpet. I did learn how to play trumpet a little bit. So I guess no, guitar wasn't the very first instrument I learned how to play, but it was definitely the first instrument that I dedicated myself to, for sure. Piss off metallic appearance. It's a fun time, I gotta say. Redline says you could do an update video to the CCM. You feel more Catholic to me since then. 100% I am. Maybe how your journey in the faith has changed your mentality. Redline, I've been thinking about making an update video like that for a while. The thing is, I need the proper amount of time to actually sit down and script out kind of what I want to say with that video. And my thoughts are still evolving on that as well. There are multiple people I would love to bring on who are gonna be more well known than any of the people that I had on last time. They're gonna be more well known and actually have some really interesting opinions on the whole circumstance. So if you guys are familiar at all with the TikToker, Instagrammer Eve Was Framed, she's actually a friend of mine, which is crazy, you know, like absolutely nuts. She is a friend of mine. Yeah, okay. You are banned from my chat. Congratulations. Enjoy the netherworld, dipshit. Do we have mods? Yeah, mods in the future. If you can stay on top of that, that'd be great. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, she's an atheist TikToker. Eve Was Framed. and she's a decent, like, I wouldn't say like a super close friend, but like we know each other really well. She grew up basically being a worship leader in the sense of like leading a CCM band for church. Holy crap. Getting rated here. All right. Community moderation. Settings. Permissions? No. 1 second. Details. One second, guys. We'll make it 20 minutes. All right. There we go. I just set it so you have to be a subscriber for 20 minutes in order to send messages. So I won't be streaming for 20 more minutes. Oh, sorry I missed your super chat there, Inertia. Inertia asks, do you think Led Zeppelin is a 10 out of 10 band? I don't know. They have 10 out of 10's worth of influence, but I don't know if that's the only measure, I would say. I'd have to think about that more. Bare minimum, they're an 8 out of 10 band. Bare minimum. So, yeah. But anyway, we were talking about the CCM video. So, Eve was framed as a friend of mine. She used to lead worship at CCM. And, like, she's still very polite and positive towards Christians in general. I mean, she's very aware of my faith and things like that. So, she would be a great person to talk about as far as the CCM thing, interview. She'd be a great person to interview as far as talking about the CCM thing. I also have this other guy who I could most likely still reach out to, Brian Holdsworth, who used to do worship leader stuff and is Catholic. He's a convert. I'd love to actually talk to Jimmy Aiken about it, who I would almost certainly be able to get access to, because I definitely lean more towards very traditional, like, chant-focused liturgy. But, you know, that's just within the context of divine liturgy. That's not everyday context, you know? So I think that'd be really interesting stuff to dive into. Not to mention, I also have Brian now. Brian is currently a worship leader, and he does that on the regular, so it'd be really good to get his perspective on things too. I have a lot of really cool people I can talk to update that video, especially now that I've changed very much since making that video. I'd certainly be more charitable than I was. I regret not being more charitable in that video. I regret trying to be hyper snarky. I regret trying to be hyper snarky. Yeah, the Canadian Brian Holdsworth who talks about Catholic stuff. I've already bugged him. I don't know if he likes me or not. I've sent him some weird emails when I was drunk. So we'll see. But I think he'd be a really good guy to get his perspective on that, honestly. Especially, he doesn't even, I don't think he even thinks metal music is, like, good to listen to. Not that he just, like, doesn't like it. I think he actually does find it appealing. I just don't think he thinks it's good to listen to. Unless I misunderstand his point of view or if it's evolved over time. Sure he understands. I don't know if he understands or not. I have no idea. No idea. Alright, hold up. I'm gonna go back up here. It's 3 o'clock, so I gotta say my chaplet soon, but I'll try and take a few more questions. I don't know what was going on with the trolls. I think it was probably just one person. Not music related, but are you a Star Wars fan? Yes, I am, in the old sense of the term. That is the first 3 movies. Mike, you've aged so well. I'm expecting you to get skincare products soon. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of stress. The lack of, like, life-crushing stress. Like, I have stress, but it's not, like, destroy me. I also, like, I'm a quarter Italian, so that helps. I have a lot of olive oil in my diet, so that helps. That, and I've recently, in the last few months, I recommend this. Dudes, if you have a beard, or if you're trying to make your beard better, use beard oil and use beard butter. That stuff is fantastic. Hashtag not sponsored. But here, let me grab my stuff really fast. Oh, crap. I got fairly cheap stuff, you know. But this is the beard oil that I use, whatever the hell this is. Beard oil is good for the skin where the beard grows out of. A lot of people don't, especially a lot of guys don't realize this. Not all of the skin on your body is the same. So like the skin on the palm of your hands is not the same kind of skin on the back of your hand, is not the same kind of skin as on your face, not the same kind of skin as on your sack, you know? So they require different products to, I shouldn't say require, it's good to use products that are suited specifically to help maximize those areas of your body. So the beard oil actually goes down into like the follicle area. That's the idea of it. It also helps make your beard a little bit more uniform, for sure. And then the beard butter does a little bit of conditioning of the hair itself on the beard, and also is more moldable, if that makes any sense. Actually, I haven't even put any beard butter on today, so I can demonstrate that super quick. Let's take a little globule. Little globule like that. Rub it together so that the beard butter starts to melt down. You want it to be like melty, warmed up. You don't want it to be in gloops and glops. And then you just rub it in. Make sure you get the mustache. There you go. That is applying beard butter. So thank you for the compliments on that. Make sure you get all of it off of your fingers. There you go. Helps a lot. Also, when you apply that, the way that your beard will naturally sit after that will actually help you determine how to trim your beard so that it's nice and even, because it has the hairs sitting more evenly. It's been a great aid in being able to trim my beard better, is using beard butter and beard oil. I'm gonna put these back and wash my hands, and then I'm gonna come back to your questions. All right. Thank you for the compliment. All right. What do I think about jazz rock fusion music? Mostly okay. What band with a fairly long career do you think has the best overall discography? Probably the Beatles, honestly. People are gonna hate that, but yeah, it's probably the Beatles. Woo, that skipped way down. Where are we at? Any new albums being released this year that I'm looking forward to hearing? Not really. But we'll see. Been around 8 years now. Where did you get the Become the Night name? I made it the fuck up! To quote a great man. The night. Why Become the Night? Where is it? I made a video on this, and I don't know where the hell it is. Buried in a sea of bullshit. I don't know. Let's keep going. And I made a lot of videos. That's a good thumbnail face. That's a good emote face. When I made this video, I was still in the bedroom at the desk. That's how long ago this was. I was still flirting with the fucking Fine Brothers. I still had that shitty keyboard. I totally forgot about that. Ah, the classic. Cardi B is awful. Oh, the memories. The cringe. Let me see here. Where is it? There it is. Wow, I'm like a baby. Here you go, Jacob. There's the link to the video. You can watch it yourself on your own time. Still hits. Let's watch that really fast. That was a really good opening. So stupid. Come on, where you at? Where you at? Where is it? There it is. There it is. Now, when I hear the name Cardi B, I think cultural leader of the zeitgeist of the establishment music industry. When I think Cardi B, I think an absolutely terrible example for a bunch of people who have such strong cognitive dissonances and emotional damage that they actually find something quote-unquote positive from her message. When I think Cardi B, I think top 10 worst artists of the 21st century. For those of you... I was having none of that. Classic. Anyway. I remember when I could have just like more carefree fun on this channel. Something I miss about that. Tips Fedora? Exactly, Doug. There you go. Tips Fedora. As it should be. Chant says, when did you realize you could do YouTube full-time? That's actually a fairly simple story. So I was doing my full-time job. I was doing a job basically in what they call like renewal sales or whatever, but like our clients who had hired us out, we were like the third party that the end users don't know as a third party hired out department. So the clients that we had were basically giving us these renewal contracts for this specific software service, and we just had to make sure that these people were going to renew, like the easiest kind of shit, right? So along with that, or sorry, not along with that, eventually that client was getting acquired by a larger company, and that larger company was just like, yeah, we're not going to use you guys anymore, so see you later. Which means that my team had to be basically dismantled. That account was being closed. And Google was actually purchasing a really large team with us for their cloud systems team, for their cloud system service. And that would be like a promotion, that'd be greater responsibility, that'd be more technical knowledge. It would be an in at Google, which is also really cool too. There was a lot of potential perks for me, like getting on this team. And it certainly was not a guarantee either. It was like, we see that you can perform really well in this circumstance. We see that you're really smart. We don't think you have the experience to take this on yet, but if you can interview well for this, we'll give you a shot. I'm like, okay. Like, what do I need to do? He's like, here, take this book, read it, learn it, understand it, and then come back and interview. I'm like, okay. And this is like, while my channel is like hitting 6,000 to 10,000 subscribers a month in growth. Like, this is like right in the heat of it. And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not quite at the revenue monthly to quit my job yet. So I got to keep doing both of these things. And I sit down and I open this book and I start studying it. And instantly I thought to myself, like, why the hell am I putting time into this? Like, what? I could be focusing on growing my channel. I could be focusing on making music. I could be focusing on the entire reason why I moved down here instead of reading this thing, because I'm trying to advance myself in this company toward what end, you know? If I was religious at the time, maybe I would think about it differently. Maybe it would have been wiser to think about it differently. But for where my head was at, I don't think that was the choice. So I took a real leap of faith there. Basically, like, they were going to find me a new team. But I actually took that opportunity to leave completely. Not that this was cringe. Like, it wasn't, there was nothing particularly cringe about it. Just like, I had an opportunity to take a leap of faith. And I mean, I picked up like a side gig. Like, for about a year, I was hosting karaoke on the side while I was doing YouTube full time. So it's not like I was like just on YouTube. I had to do some other things to fill in the gaps for a while. But eventually I was able to get out of even doing karaoke, which is great. Yeah. So that's basically how I realized it, when I realized, like, I could be spending all of this time I have at a job, pouring it into my channel and making it so much better. And I did. I mean, it took a while. It also took a while, like, I feel like I've only recently gotten the real confidence to make a lot of big changes. Oh, crap. Is this thing being shitty again? The stream freeze? I think my computer just froze. Okay, no, we're good. Stream is still here. My computer's just being shitty. Okay. We're still good. All right, that's good to see. All right. But yeah, I only recently got the confidence to really supercharge my channel because I was afraid it was going to take all of this extra time to learn all of this new stuff without going into too many details. And I was like, oh, I just needed to have like little guidance here to supercharge this and like a little guidance there to supercharge that. Oh, I just needed to take on this project working for someone else instead of just for myself. I have this weird thing of treating other people and treating other people's things way better than I would treat myself or my things. And I don't know why that is. I know part of it has to do with like laziness for sure, but I think another part of it is just like a certain lack of self-respect. Not to say I don't respect myself at all, you know, but like definitely not healthy, especially from a Catholic perspective. That's something, thankfully, I've been learning. Like, oh, I can do all of this for someone else. I can also do this for myself, you know? So, oh, man. It'll be really good. I'm really stoked to for you guys to see how my editing has leveled up. Also, I got a new camera. The camera looks great. Like I said on the last thing, I upgraded my lighting. You can't really tell so much here, but you'll be able to tell. Looks quite nice. Looks quite nice. Here, let me turn that down for a second. Just for a shits and a gigs. Okay. Come over here. This will be the ad spot for the next video. I don't fucking care. This is not sponsored, but I'm trying to ban TikTok in the US for harvesting user data. Can you see? No, you can't see. There we go. So recently, they've been trying to ban TikTok in the US for harvesting user data. I gotta say, their data mining practices were pretty egregious, but it's got many people asking how this is any different than every other social media company. It's a pretty wild ecosystem we operate in right now. For instance, you or I could go to any data broker's website right now and buy anyone's data for a couple of bucks. Seriously. The most wild part of all of this is it's 100% legal just to purchase people's data. You combine that with how shoddy the security is at many of these big companies, and it seems like every day there's another headline of some ubiquitous service getting hacked. Your personal information is being sold on the dark web to spammers, scammers, and identity thieves who can target you, and they face zero repercussions from it. It's pretty infuriating that these companies basically have no standards for how to handle our data. So now I have to be interrupted 5 times a day by a bot in Serbia who is trying to tell me my Microsoft account is compromised. Thanks. It's really on us to protect ourselves. So that's why you should use today's sponsor, Aura. Aura keeps you safe online by doing what the big companies refuse to do. They will identify data brokers who are selling your information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. After just a few weeks, you'll... Yeah, you get the point. Either way, that's like a light editing job. I can do much cooler stuff now, which makes me happy. But yeah, the shot looks nice. All right. And it's only going to get better with time. I'm going to have to redesign this whole set and get that figured out. I'm not exactly sure how to do that yet, but we'll make it work one way or the other. It's going to happen. Have a good day, Fragile Wolf. That's awesome. Yeah, I got to get going too. I got to say some prayers and I got to get back to work. But I love you guys very much, and I will talk to you later.